Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Harold. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Ready to Love, Season 7, Miami, Episode 7 recap. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Yeah, Season 7, Episode 7, the 7 and 7 episode. How you feel about the show? We're halfway through, as Tommy told us today.
I hate the show.
Uh-huh.
I think the show is terrible. And here's why. Because I'm watching this, and I think about all the other crap you've had me watch and we've done reviews on. Mm-hmm. At least there was more substance to those. It's like, this is just, let's figure out a way to create some drama.
Right.
Let's figure out a way to create some unnecessary drama.
Uh-huh.
And then let's figure out a way to bring in some more drama next week. Mm-hmm. But there's no substance to it. I just feel like it's just trash.
But that's, okay, let's be honest. That's what reality TV dating shows are. It's about the drama because that's what people like. A matter of fact, that's what reality TV is. It's about the drama. That's what people like. Matter of fact, that's what scripted TV shows are about. It's all about the drama. People like drama.
I understand it, but I just feel like the other shows that we've watched, I feel like there was more structure and substance to it that makes it better than this. All of them have drama, but this, I can't even enjoy getting into. And I appreciate the fact that it's an hour, but it's funny. It's like 5 minutes of commercials in between. When you look at the little bar when you're fast forwarding, and the bar for commercials is super long compared to the other shows. It's just, I just don't like the show. I think they could do so much more with this if they really wanted to make it something. I just feel like it's just average.
So it's low-hanging fruit in your case is what you're saying.
It's just average. You know, I just think there could be more to it. If you're going to go on the show, don't go on Ready to Love. Go do something else.
Damn.
There's so many of them. I mean, there's so many other options. Go on something else. Don't go on this one.
You know, one of the things that happened that was a big talking point from last week's episode, right, was the whole Jeffrey and Blake situation and blow up at that get-together. And so Vat Thomas said on here, said, women looking at her, meaning Jeffrey, understands that she's telling the truth and has a little patience for Blake. Y'all don't get it because your friends be doing the type of stuff and then tell y'all the girl is crazy. Not our friends. But I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but not our friends.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that, but I mean, I think everyone is entitled to how they feel. There are a lot of people who don't like my opinion of this show. So, hey, I get it. But no, yeah. I don't think it's good.
You know, there's quite a bit to get to, so let's just get to it on the show today, man. We pick up where we left off last week. The Last Supper, as they put it out to be. The Last Supper as we get to the halfway point. And my first takeaway from this Last Supper is Andre is arrogant as hell. He wants everybody to be welcome. He's soaking up everybody's, oh my God, we missed you. And that's all he wants. And the minute that one person doesn't do it, like Mercedes didn't do it, see, you saw he tried to chastise her last week and then tried to do it again this week. And to me, that should be a red flag, shouldn't it?
Yes, because to me, I've always heard these stories from women who are married in relationships, and they talk about how guys turn into such babies when they're sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never had to do that because I've always taken care of myself when I'm sick. Give me some medicine, my robe, some soup, and I'm going to sleep, and I'll be fine. I don't need anybody to rub my head. Andre needs somebody to, like, rub his head. Baby, you okay? You need anything? You want some juice? You know, why are you so upset that Mercedes, who's not like y'all slept together? Right. Y'all had a couple conversations, then you got COVID, and now you're upset that she's not blowing up your texts? That dude's crazy.
You did a check on me. Shut up. And here's the thing about it. It looked even creepier the way he was kind of groping her while he's trying to. She looks like she's about to, do the Matrix to get away from him. And he's still just trying to grope her shoulders and just like, ugh, dude, stop.
I like what she told him. She's like, look, you were dealing with your thing. And the way I saw it, you were out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
And that's just real. You weren't around. Why am I going to keep texting and checking on you when you got COVID? Take care of that. There's other guys here that I'm trying to get to know as well. I've only talked to you twice.
He asked why. She told him why. That he got mad. Look, if you don't want to know the answer, do not ask the question. Fellas, ladies, everybody. If you don't want to know the answer, do not ask the question. And like Dina says here, Andre needs somebody to rub all all three of his hairstyles.
Yeah, but that's so true. Well, why didn't you check on me? Well, you weren't here, so you were out of sight, out of mind. But why? Like, dude, let it go.
I've tried to forget your hairstyles. That's what it really makes.
I figured you'd just be at home, you'd tug on that curl in the front, and eventually get better.
Now, Andre and Jeffrey, where was this? Maybe I fell asleep during the first couple episodes that he actually was a part of. I did not see this connection that they had, but remember we said this last time. They look like old lovers. They look like old lovers that time. Sitting on the couch there, I was like, what's really happening here?
Well, maybe because this show is different than others, that they've been texting and communicating off camera.
Yeah.
And so maybe they have a little bit more than what the camera has shown. That's the only thing I could think of.
What did you think of Jeffrey comparing herself to Jesus?
What?
That
I
was
might
all-
have been
and she's-
getting up to go get a refill and missed that part, but like, what are you talking about?
I forget the exact line she said. I forget the exact line, but oh my God. She said something about, well, Jesus did it. I'm like, it was a slight comparison. I figured you probably caught that one. So, yeah. I don't know.
No, like I said, I was hitting the bar. I guess I forgot.
Morgan and Marcia, they came for Anthony. And that's when Morgan crowned herself a queen who doesn't chase.
I laughed at that because the more that you get to know Morgan, or at least more that we've gotten to know Morgan, and even after that day, it's like, girl, you're crazy, and you want someone to be all psycho about you. But I don't blame
crazy
her.
loves crazy. Yeah.
I don't blame her. But then again, this is Anthony not just manning up to saying, I'm not interested.
Yes. Now that
Just
part.
say you're not interested.
I actually made that note.
Yeah, why sit there just playing? You just, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Just say you're not interested and move
Because
on.
when they're like, oh, he just doesn't get it. I'm like, no. Y'all don't get it. He don't like either one of y'all.
Exactly. He's not interested in either one of you. So y'all want him to step up to you, but he doesn't want you. But Anthony should man up and just say that. These aren't like 20-year-old, real world people. You're adults.
Exactly.
Just say it.
Yeah, man up and do it. And then Morgan left that session, that roasting session, went over to Tony, and she kind of got at him. And you look at these two, because remember they had a strong connection, but you see, and we've noticed how jealous Tony can get, and we'll see it again as we get to the deliberation. But man,
That look in Tony's face, he's just looking at her like a snack. Just, God, I'm so hungry. Girl, I'm gonna eat you all up. You have no idea. Then I'm gonna pray about it afterwards.
But here's the thing about this case. Morgan is a typical case of a woman who sees player and goes, but I can change him.
That is so true. That's sad, right? I mean, it's just a sad reality that we all know as guys, we know there are dudes out there. And you always wonder, like, how do girls fall for this shit? But you look at it, Morgan's a smart, intelligent woman, but yet she still is just open to this. And you're like, girl, you're going to get hurt, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Do
go
you.
ahead. This is going to be a fun ride to watch, and I got more to say about that as we get to some of the other stuff later, especially some of those individual dates. But before they got to the dates, we had the deliberation and we had the elimination. Let's get to the deliberation between the guys and the girls and who was going to stay, the top connections. Were you surprised that Jeffrey said Andre was her top connection? Because it surprised the hell out of me.
It shocked me because he wasn't around, and she was all about Marc Anthony and Blue. And then all of a sudden, Andre comes back from COVID, and it's like, oh, maybe Jesus has risen. Maybe that's what she was talking about. But she mentioned Jesus. Maybe that's what she thought. But I was quite surprised that she put him at the top. And what's really interesting during this portion of it, because it's a smaller group of women, the look on each other's faces when they hear who the other person thinks is like their top one. They're just like, It's funny. The competition is begun.
perfect example of that, especially is Tony and Lyndon. When Lyndon started, when Tony's describing his date, and they're like, oh, "It's poetry," and then of course Lyndon does what either one of us probably would have done, which is make fun of his date by going, "Well, we didn't have the sun setting and 5 or 6 makeout sessions, but it was a good date, though."
But again, as much as I think Lyndon is going to walk out of here and go back to the bar where he belongs in the streets, he tries hard. And he swings for the fence. I'm just like, you know what? Chase that dream. Chase it.
No, facts. You watch those connections happen, right? And then you realize that as they get to deliberation, who's going to really make it? Somebody actually call us out, and who's going to get eliminated? Somebody actually call out exactly the people that were. For the guys, as you kept hearing people say who they weren't making connections with, and this is why I have a problem with the show in this space, and the fact that the people saying they don't have connections, well, you're not supposed to because they're connecting with somebody else. It's not like Anthony who's not connecting with anybody. These are people who are still connecting with other people, right? And that's the part I think that just kind of frustrated me in this entire deliberation, because you know Blake and Susu got their little thing going, but because you're mad at him, you're like, I want Blake on the chopping block, even though for the first time, he wasn't.
You're 100% spot on.
Thank you.
I don't say that often. I don't
louder.
say it often. It's your birthday week, so you get a pass. But that's the thing I don't like about this show is I'm interested in 3 other people, but I'm going to totally diss the other 2 that I have no connection with. Mm-hmm. But other people do. But I'm going to be like, no, I don't like her and talk bad about her. Just say y'all don't click.
Right.
And you move on from that. So I just think that's the shadiness of this show.
It is. Now, the guys they put up, they decided anybody named Tony except Tony was going to be up for elimination. So Anthony and Marc Anthony up for elimination. And they spared Anthony, left Marc Anthony up there, which I thought was kind of weird, especially since he had 2 strong connections. Because you can see, even though we didn't see a lot of one-on-one time, we got to see some today with him and Mercedes, you knew they had a connection, right? But then the ladies use the second chance lifeline, which I don't understand, that everybody has to agree on it. Why nobody gets eliminated? Especially if they all hated Blake as much as they did.
I can tell you why. This is the bullshit of this show. Is because the numbers were off. So the whole time I'm like, wait a minute. The numbers don't add up. There's too many ladies, not enough guys. And so they did this to make the numbers even. And of course, you keep Blake because of the drama. That's why they did that.
Melissa has a different take on it. She says, we women like to save men. True. But the men couldn't do the same for the women with the lifeline. Very true. And we just said this earlier. The problem, I can change him. That's Morgan and Tony right now.
Yeah, but nobody was feeling Jonique. Tony's the only one that was like, she's cool. But, Morgan
Tony saw
is
a chance
up here.
To hit.
Yeah, Morgan is up here. Then there's Marcy. Jonique wasn't at the top of anybody's radar. So that's why she wasn't going to make it. And I think good for her. I don't think any of these dudes deserve her. And I think she can go find what else she wants. Hope she doesn't jump on another reality show. Like, just find what you need in Miami.
She'll be on The Bachelor
and move
next.
on. The Bachelor next, so she'll make the first rose ceremony because they always keep the 2 black girls for the first rose ceremony. And then that second week, hey, Jonique, I'm sorry. We just didn't get a chance to connect.
They get to the individual dates. Sue Ann and Anthony. Anthony said, come on over to the crib. Yo, what did you think about the doormat?
All kinds of things about the doormat. I'm like, who the hell are you to have that on your doormat? I mean, to me, it just says something about you. Maybe Anthony is coming off like this dude that we thought was pretty straight and narrow, but maybe there's a side to him that we don't know. I just feel like that doormat is what I would have had when you and I lived together on campus at UTSA.
Yes.
That's something
it's a
you
young
would do
people's
in
doormat.
college.
Yes.
Right. That's, it's funny. Okay, we're having drinks at Terrell Yanni's place. As an adult, why do you have that? And I think he just did it for the show because it looked too clean, like no one had stepped on it. So I think that was just for the show. Again, goes back to my point of why this show was so much shit.
It was a bit much. I'm all about taking your shoes off in the crib, but I like it, but I don't like it. Like there's a better mat to say it. Like you said, you're too damn old for that. You're too damn old for that.
You're too grown. His inside of his house is adult. I really think that Matt, again, is the show putting it out there. I really don't believe that's his Matt. I just don't believe it.
You know how you know it's not? Because he didn't have her take her shoes off.
Maybe he's not like you and doesn't mind having shoes in the house.
Whatever. So he was also not trying to give any hints about how he feels. He just like she's trying to beg for this and trying to find out. He had zero game. What was that whole dance at the end about?
I don't know, but I'm getting a 50 Shades vibe from Anthony. Not that he's rich, but he's that kind of quiet dude. I can't tell if he likes me, he doesn't like me. He's just, well, what do you think? Here's some salad. The next thing you know, come on down to the basement. I want to show you something. Gonna put her in a sex swing and it's gonna change the game. It's just something off about this dude now to me, that he just doesn't communicate well. Can't say what he thinks. He's just kind of weird now.
Yo, this is funny right here. From Chocolate Suda said the difference in 39-year-old Anthony's house is astoundingly different than Eris's place. Also 39, going back to Married at First Sight.
Because he has clothes in his closet. He has stuff, in it compared to Crazy Eris.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the other dates that happened, Jeffrey and Marc Anthony, right? What'd you think of them? Because I don't know why, but for some reason I always feel like cougarish vibes whenever I see her with him. Like he feels like he's 21 and she's like 45, and I know that's not the case.
What's the age gap between the two again?
I honestly can't.
I don't
remember.
know.
Let me search. I'll
matter.
find it for you. Go ahead.
I know he's older. I mean, I know she's older and more established because she has children and Marc Anthony doesn't. When he told her that I can be the strong one and she can be soft, I was just like,
not with him.
This just sounds like some game. But I have to, even though Jeffrey's not one of my favorites on the show, I have to give her credit for being that vulnerable to talk about her health condition on live TV, because you got to imagine how many people that she's gone on date 1, 2, or 3, and then it's like, oh, hey, well, there's this, and then they wind up, bouncing. So I'm hoping that Marc Anthony is not one of those dudes that does that. So kudos to Jeffrey for being vulnerable, because I know that couldn't have been easy.
It couldn't have been easy, and you could tell that Marc Anthony had no idea what she was talking about when she said she had Crohn's disease, because he's like, oh, where? And he had, and then he told us, he's like, yeah, I have no idea. I said, that's exactly what I thought, that you had no idea what it meant.
Look on his face like, so do I got to quarantine for 14 days? Like, what is this? Let me go to Google real quick. He had no idea what she was talking about, and the more that she explained it, you can see in his eyes, he was like, oh shit. Which is why I'm hoping that he doesn't become an asshole and uses this as part of his reason. He probably won't say it out loud, but uses this as his reason to not pick her.
Well, I think there are other reasons too, and that's on his next date. But okay, so Dina says Jeffrey claims that she's 32. I can't remember what Marc Anthony said he was, but yeah, and then Dina, I agree. I looked it up. I saw that Jeffrey claims that she's 32, and I also agree with High Vibe. Jeffrey's not 32. That's already the love age.
Well, it could be like that one video we did before. She was 32 at one point. So technically, she's not lying.
And then see, even Chocolate Suda says Jeffrey's style is giving cougar. That's probably what it is. It's probably in her delivery. It's just in the way she carries herself. But you know what I noticed about this date? I think Jeffrey has a way of making every man she talks to feel like they are the only one. Because watch how Blue reacted. Look how Marc Anthony's into her. Look at Andre. I mean, she has a way, when she's with somebody, she's all into them, and they're the only one that matters in that moment. And those men feel it, and she's wrapping them all up. Oh, Jesus. High Vibe says she was 32 in 2013. Stop it.
Damn. Get him.
How Jeffrey got her groove back. Yo, stop.
Well, but if you really think about it, all guys like that.
Yeah.
What guy wouldn't want to be sitting across from a woman that makes him feel like he's the only one in the room? So good for her.
Yeah, and you know, it's kudos to her for that because not everybody has that skill. Okay, not every woman can make you feel that way, and she does it with every single one of them. She's got 3 top connections, and her 3 top connections all seem like they feel that way. Because one thing I can say, Marc Anthony when he was sitting on at that date with her, I was like, dang, is he about to forget all about Mercedes? Seriously? I'm like, really? For her?
Well, in the moment he did, but I really think once she started being vulnerable about her health, his whole body language and eyes was like, oh shit. Okay. So I know he was processing. I'm glad they had a nice kiss. And maybe that could lead to something, who knows, but we all know that he has a special place in his heart for Mercedes.
Oh yeah, because when they went on their date, that's the next date up, Mercedes and Marc Anthony. I like these two together, and I will say this: watching them, I saw this from the very beginning. Their sexual energy and chemistry is on 25. From today's date, I realized that 15 of that 25 is Mercedes. She is on because she's the one that come here, boy, give me that.
She's like, oh, you like planes too? Okay, check. Oh, you getting your pilot's license? Okay, let me just take my shirt off real quick. Tell me more. Yeah, she is fully in on that. And I think they both have that in common, which we said in the beginning when Marc Anthony first joined the show. And the whole time I felt like, well, maybe, because was it just me, or did you first think that Marc Anthony walked in wearing the same shirt he had on when he was with Jeffrey? At first I was like, wait, was that the same? And then I realized, okay, that was a T-shirt. And the other one was a button-up.
Yeah, here's what I noticed when they walked out of the restaurant. He dressed down to go on the date with Mercedes and tried to dress up a little more for Jeffrey.
When you're out with the deaconess of the church, you got him. You just can't show up looking any kind of way.
Here's why I noticed that, because I'm not the person to notice what anybody is wearing. I noticed that because I think he should have shown. I felt bad that he didn't show Mercedes a little more respect in that space.
Well, he maybe only had a small amount of time to change between one date to the other. Who knows? But as soon as they started kissing, I'm like, yeah, I think he's going to be sold on Mercedes now.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
Yeah. So I'm counting on Blue. Blue's my guy. Blue. You need to work on Jeffrey.
Well, there's still Andre. Because looking at what's going to happen next week, well, we'll get to that later. But Morgan and Smooth Tony from up top. Yo, Tony is so jealous. It's crazy, man. I mean, the way he was about just the fact about Lyndon, and still he had to bring it up. It's crazy to me. Like he can't let that go. He's like, I'm going to win, but I still don't like
him. Tony's not threatened by Lyndon, and Lyndon doesn't have a chance. Let's just all be honest.
You don't like Lyndon. That's what it is.
No, I don't mind Lyndon. I think Lyndon's a cool dude. It's just you're on the wrong show. But this is not the one for you. But I think Tony and Morgan are both kind of crazy jealous types. Mm-hmm. When Morgan, I think, was telling Tony that, cut off all the friendliness. You're on the show, you're on a dating show.
Yeah.
Why should he stop trying to flirt and talk to other people? But I think they're both a little crazy, which maybe that could be their kink. But when she said that you terrify me, there's all these good things, but there's another part of you that terrifies me. I'm like, trust your gut. Like, how many people went on a date with someone that terrified them and then was like, oh, well, I was wrong. He's a teddy bear. Everything is great. He doesn't hit me.
Well, I don't think that's terrifying to me. Tony the Tiger is creepy. Hashtag no cat daddy. And I think when she says to terrify, it's like, I know you're no good for me, but I can't help to quit you, or whatever that line is. I never watched that stupid movie anyway. I just can't quit you. That's what that stupid line was. From
Brokeback Mountain.
Yes, there you go. That movie you watched.
It's all right. It's okay to say it. You're still heterosexual if you say the name of a movie. It's okay.
I never watched the movie, so I don't. I just know the line.
Okay. Whatever.
This is why we hate each other.
But I mean, I like how Tony just laughed when she's talking about Linda, but then Tony's telling her, well, look, take what's yours.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, Tony wants to be chased. As much as he likes to chase, he also likes to be chased. And he's this is not the first time he said that. He wants everybody to kind of do this to him. And he wants the heiress treatment. Feed me grapes in the bathtub. You know what I mean? He wants that kind of stuff.
So Cat Daddy wants to be pursued.
Yes.
He doesn't want to be just him doing all the work.
Right.
He wants to feel a little desired. Mm-hmm. Get over yourself. I don't think that's what he wants. I think it's just what he's saying. Because it sounds cool. Some smooth shit to try to say. But, I think Tony's Tony, and Morgan is falling for every bit of it.
Every bit. Even though I don't think Dina would, because Dina says, these men seem like they're stuck in a New Jack Swing era. That's definitely Tony all day.
Dina must be drinking like I drink when I watch these shows, because she's on fire today.
Dina's always on fire. Morgan and Blake had a date that, we won't call it a date. They sat down in front of the firing squad. Well, let's just say Morgan had Blake sit down in front of the firing squad of one. I thought she was a bit much in this moment, but maybe that's just me.
No, she was everything that the producers of this shitty show wanted her to be. There was no reason for those two to meet up. They had one conversation in the beginning.
Yes.
And she was turned off by the fact that he was telling her, well, when you have kids, you can't do all this other stuff. And I'm speaking from experience, which there's nothing wrong with that. She took offense to it, which that's on her. Excuse me. That's not on him. I've had so many of my friends tell me, Terrell, you're not married. Don't do it. Don't get married, man. You enjoy your life. Oh, you don't have any kids? Oh, well, you're so lucky. So people can say things. That doesn't make them bad. Mm-hmm. But she just doesn't like him. But there was just no point for them to get together at all.
Mm-hmm. No, apparently, and I will say this, he handled it a lot better than young Yanni would have, right? But even old Yanni would have wanted to say out loud, like, look, you know what? You go, enjoy it. I'll be the one laughing in the corner when Tony dogs you out.
Yeah, young Yanni would have said something way worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen what young Yanni has said.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no, it's hilarious. It would have been, I'd pay money to watch what you would have said to Morgan as she just flipped the script on you like that.
Because I think it was unnecessary, though. I mean, if you haven't talked to him since the first day, you made up your mind in that moment because he said something you didn't like because y'all just first met, and you're like, I don't like him, and you felt the need to go ahead and sit down with him to have this conversation and just say that to him. For what? What was it going to accomplish? Nothing. And I give him credit for being the bigger man in that moment. The adult in the room will go, okay, well, you know what? We're fine. Let's just take this as what it is. We don't have to talk again. We're good.
No, I think the better thing for him to have done is say, actually, I declined this date because you have no interest in Morgan. You said that when the guys were deliberating. Mm-hmm. What's to gain by meeting with her? And then he's like, well, I just thought we can clear the air. And then when he says at the end, well, your opinion doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, then why'd you show up?
Right.
Because the producers want there to be drama because the show is shit.
Well, like Chocolate Suda said here, she was glad to hear someone giving Blake his same energy, though. I get that. She should have done it in the moment, too, though. I mean, I get sometimes, the best lines come after the person's walked away. But she waited 2 months later. Here we are, 6 episodes later to talk about it.
Well, that's the pettiness, right? I think of people because I'm thinking about Morgan and her, feeling vindicated by saying whatever she thought she had to say. I'm like, what's there to gain from that?
Girl, I told him.
What did you get from that? It's a waste of your
I told him what was on my mind.
It's a waste of your own energy. It's like, okay, you don't like him. You don't have to like him. Then ignore him and don't talk to him. But why go through all this? To me, that's just you being a child.
What it does, here's the problem, I think, for her. And here's where I think if I'm a friend of Morgan's, I say leave it alone. Don't let him live rent-free in your head. Because all you did in that conversation with him is let him know, oh, yeah, I'm on her mind. I'm going to irritate the out of her easy. Every time I see her, I'm going to do something that I know is just going to irk her. Purposely.
I'd be overly nice. Hey, I'm going to get something to drink. You want anything?
Morgan?
Okay.
Would you like something?
I want to buy Morgan a drink just because she's a good person. And I just respect her. Everybody, here's a toast to Morgan. Raise your glass.
But then see, young Yanni, young Terrell would also be, because we know you're going to need the extra dollars for diapers. See, that's the difference.
Young Yanni would have been like, let's all raise our glasses to Morgan. She's such a good person. She's tried so hard. Apparently, none of that's worked because nobody wants her or wants to have kids with her. But hopefully, on this journey, on Ready to Love, she's going to find that special person. To Morgan.
Yes, because you know that will be the day that you get kicked off the show, too, because all the other women are going to unite. Even Sue Ann would have to jump in and be like, you know what? Okay, I can't advocate for him today. He's got to go.
But young Yanni wouldn't care. You get kicked off, you're like, no problem. You're going to grab a plate, grab some wings to go. Just walk out. All right, then, everybody. See you at the reunion.
Next week, something that I think you're going to be you're either going to be highly entertained or highly agitated by, which is the fact that they're supposed to take their connections to have a sit down with their exes.
Why? Why?
Because who knows you better than your ex?
Someone in the comments, tell me about a time that you introduced someone you're dating purposely to your ex to get your ex's opinion. When have you done that? And then how did that work out? That's a good recruiter question. Tell me about a time when.
Yes.
What was the result? How did that work out? Nothing positive comes from trying to introduce somebody to, now it's your ex, that the father of your children, different.
Totally
and
different.
Maybe that could be the case, but I'm just like, there's nothing.
How many
positive
people
that
is
comes
Jeffrey
from
going to
that.
have sitting there? Well, these are your connections. No, these are my baby daddies. Okay, let's stop.
You wrong. You wrong for
I just
that.
said what you were thinking.
You wrong for I wasn't thinking that.
Okay, whatever.
I wasn't thinking thing at all. I just thought she was gonna. Hey, Andre, this is John. John, this is Andre. Hey, David, this is Andre. Andre, David.
See, I knew that was on
this
your
is
mind.
Devontae. We only kicked it for a few months, but we're really close.
Look, Chocolate Center says, how many is Blake? Well, Blake, we all know Blake has got 3 baby mamas. We know that. He's got 3 kids, 3 baby mamas, 3 obviously failed attempts to make this family thing work. Okay? We know that part. The question we've been asking for a long time is, how many does Jeffrey have? And there's never been a way to tell that. I don't think it's come out yet, right?
Here's what'll be interesting is, my bet is Blake, whoever comes on for Blake, is not one of his baby mamas. It's just someone that he's dated.
Oh yeah, well they said ex, not they didn't
Right.
They didn't specify, and it could be
Right.
an ex.
It won't
like,
be a baby mama. It's just gonna be somebody that he's dated out of the many, the one that still likes him.
Well, according to Lady S, Blake also has a 4th on the way, so he's been busy.
What?
He's been busy. Now, you asked the question for people to put in the comments as to when has it ever worked out? Dina says 20 never. In that year of 20 never. High Vibe says never in life and no plans. They are an ex for a reason. And I love Ebony's response here. Never. Dumb as hell.
My point exactly. It is so dumb, especially for this show and for these type of singles. Bringing your ex is not going to be positive.
Oh, and you know what? So Chocolate Sooner also cleared up what she meant. Now, how many is Blake? Not how many baby mamas, but she meant how many still talk to that man.
That's why he's not going to bring one of them on. As long as they're getting their child support, they don't want anything to do with Blake.
Right? That is so true. Look, it's gonna be interesting next week because you see some tension already between some of these exes and the connections. Andre, of course, you see what's going on there with him and Cynthia's ex, so that should be interesting. And you're gonna see a couple of these, so you'll at least be entertained as much as you are irritated.
I'll be more irritated.
I
will be less entertained. I'll be more irritated. I can't wait for the show to be over. It's terrible.
Monique is
Sorry.
right there with you, man. She says, I'm more sick of this show than Terrell. I don't think that's possible, Monique, but you know what? We're going to take your word
Monique,
for it.
Thank you. Thank you for someone else to agree that this show is shit. It is just bad.
And Dina also answered your question, too. He said, was she drinking just a little bourbon barrel wine?
That's some good stuff. If y'all haven't get that bourbon barrel wine. It's really good.
It's also tongue
I like
twister,
it.
I see.
It can be. Bourbon barrel wine. You got to say it 5 times fast.
Yeah. Well, look, man. We're going to be back on Monday, and now we did say we'd look at this as Love Is Blind season 3 has added 3 additional episodes after the altar, so we'll cover that in episode 122. That's on Monday. Next Wednesday, of course, back for Married at First Sight, season 16, Nashville, and we'll see all the drama that's happening there next Wednesday night, and that's going to be at, let's see, what did we say, 9 Central? Yep.
Right.
And then next Friday, I'm on the road next Friday, so we may have to do Saturday.
Sweet.
I know that crushes you. I know it hurts.
Makes me feel a bit better. It gives me just one night, little break.
Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRTPod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.